Barnet Football Club should be over the moon. They're riding high in the league, set for promotion, and pulling in the punters. Yet, in the past few days, their manager has resigned. Both the Inland Revenue and the police have been knocking at their door, and their flamboyant former chairman, Stan Flashman, has gone into hiding. He's always been a hard man to get an answer from anyway.
Who are you, please?
Faint and greasy.
Right, well, can you fuck off?
So why has Barnet become London's most controversial football club? Until just 2 years ago, when they won promotion to the Football League, Barnet was a semi-professional side, lucky if 300 people turned out to watch them. Today they're on the verge of success, promotion to the second division of the Football League, and regularly watched by bigger crowds than Premier League Wimbledon. But behind the scenes, the club is being torn apart by bitter disputes.
Stan, are you sure? Stan, it's World War III now.
For a month, the London programme's cameras have been behind the scenes, following the ups and downs of a club which generates unusual passion.
Ever since I became manager at Dunstable 16 years ago, I've had this burning ambition to get a non-league club into the league. And now when I've done that, that's my heaven. And in the 1.5 years I've been in the league with Barnet, it's turned out to be my hell.
Barry Fry's despair has been widely echoed at Barnet during the last few turbulent weeks.
We don't like it to be thought of as a laughing stock, because it's not like that. It's a lovely club.
Well, the football's been good, if not better, but behind the scenes it's very disillusioning.
We are a very unique football club in this division. We play really good football, and it is a growing club. And now I just don't think really there is a future in there now. Hello, Lynn. All right, 3 cats tomorrow night.
The man at the heart of the turmoil is the club's chairman, 21 stone Stan Flashman. Self-styled king of the ticket touts, he has a special aversion to the press.
Bye-bye.
Steve Ball, a local reporter, last encountered Flashman at a Professional Footballers Association meeting.
And I went to cover the meeting where the PFA were negotiating with Stan about the players' wages, because there were allegations that there had been shortfalls. And Stan just sort of came up out of nowhere. I just saw a blur in the corner of my eye, and he grabbed me, pushed me up against the wall, and then he sort of stood back from me as if he was about to punch me. He didn't, thank God, because I think, like, if I'd have been punched by him, it would have been quite nasty. And then he just sort of stood there spluttering. Then he grabbed my bag that was on the floor and sort of marched off with it and went to the door of the country club where the meeting was taking place and just chucked it out through the door into the car park.
Stan is no fan of the club's supporters either.
Well, the supporters don't matter as far as I'm concerned. They just pay their entrance fee. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care whether they come to Barnet or if they don't.
Yet he hasn't been slow to take advantage of the loyalty of the club's supporters and staff, including the manager of 14 years.
I took a second mortgage out on my house, 12.5 grand, to release the covenant on the clubhouse so that would get us income in. After 5 years I had a testimonial, and George Best played for me, and I give all my testimonial monies away to the players that was owed 6, 7 and 8 weeks. I got arrested one Christmas night driving a tractor trying to flatten the pitch for the Boxing Day game with Wealdstone.
In spite of this kind of commitment, Barry too has found himself on the wrong end of Stan's temper. He's been sacked 6 times and even assaulted.
But the worst fight we've had is when he came in after the Blackpool game. We'd played Blackpool in the first leg playoff last year, and the lads had done tremendous. We hit the bar, we hit the post, we won 1-0, but it could have been 3, 4 or 5-0. We've really deserved it. And I'm saying, brilliant lads, well done, you couldn't have given anything more. And then the door comes off its hinges, and the fat man comes in and he starts saying, you load of rubbish, I'm getting rid of all you lot and all this and all that. So, of course, I tell him he don't know what he's talking about again. He's done our goal line from a clothesline. And then he says, well, you're sacked because you're useless as well. So then I called him a cheat, really, and, you know, he'd nicked me testimonial money, so, I had a right go at him, and he came at me and to hit me and missed, and I got him on the throat, and 20 players jumped on us and split us apart.
Yet when the club's financial difficulties first brought Stan Flashman to Barnet in 1985, everyone greeted him as the club's saviour.
It's fair to say 8-9 years ago when he came into the club, he saved the club from liquidation. There was no other person in Barnet willing to come in. At that time when he come in, it had gates of 300, and it's fair to say he has worked very hard and put a lot of his own money in earlier on, in particular to make it the club it is now.
If Stan Flashman had sorted out the club's finances, most people would have been prepared to put up with his temper and his eccentricities. However, recently it's become clear that Stan hasn't been taking care of business in the way that supporters hope. Today the club is at risk of being expelled from the league or wound up. On March 25th, the latest in a series of disputes with the Football League, the game's governing authority, came to a head.
Who fucking wrote that?
The Football League has given Barnet a deadline. By 5 p.m. today, the club has to sort out irregularities in the players' contracts or face severe penalties. Only Stan Flashman has the authority to resolve the problem, but he hasn't found any time to deal with the matter since last November. At 4 p.m, Barry Fry takes a call from Helen Flashman, the chairman's wife and company secretary.
So what's happening with the contracts, you know? Nothing. How did Stan go on at the hospital? You're joking. A bloody stroke.
At the club, there's some suspicion that Stan's illness is tactical rather than medical. An hour after the deadline, only 2 of the disputed 6 contracts have arrived at the Football League's headquarters. Barnet could now face expulsion from the league.
He's got killed riding out this morning. I don't know what I believe anymore. What's my name? Yeah. Basil Brush.
This might have been excused as a simple administrative bungle, but Barnet's players have also had to get used to some extraordinary financial shenanigans. The team face one of the most testing games of the season on the following Saturday against league leaders Cardiff, 3 points ahead of them. Normally they would travel to an important game like this on the day before the match, so that they can relax. But it's up to the chairman to provide the cash. Unfortunately, Stan has been struck down by that mysterious illness.
I spoke to the chairman. He's ill, he's got to go to hospital today. No, it's the truth. It's truth. But he wants us to leave on Saturday at 10 o'clock to go to Cardiff. Now he thinks it's an hour and a half down the road, but I phoned the coach firm and they said it's at least 3.5 hours. So I think Saturday morning is terrible. The problem is obviously he won't pay for the overnight on a Friday, so...
We'll pay for it ourselves, mate. We've got £2. We've got to go Friday, mate.
It's a big
game.
Anybody else pay for it themselves?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Where we staying down the beach?
Well, I've got enough for one room and we'll all bunk in that room, eh?
However, having volunteered to stump up for the overnight themselves, another humiliation. On Friday, just before leaving for their big Cardiff game, they find that they haven't been paid.
The checks that are bounced today regarding all you players will be paid by Stan in cash after training down there on Monday. So we're not getting paid this week, you're not getting paid this week until Monday.
It's not only the players who are suffering. Janice Hutchings was a secretary at the club. Last month, she was summarily sacked on the grounds that the club could no longer afford her. She then discovered that for some time she had, unwittingly, been paying Barnet for the privilege of working there.
I went to sign on the dole, and I've since found out from the dole office that my national insurance contributions aren't up to date. So I've got proof that I've paid them in my pay slips and wages, but apparently they haven't been paid over.
Financial confusion now reigns over the club. The players now depend on handouts. Here, Steve Percy, chairman of the Supporters Association, has brought a cheque to help out. Barry's baffled that Barnet appears to be in such dire straits.
I'm only a silly football manager and I can work out what the income is and what the outgoings are. And I would have thought that we was one of the few clubs in the country that should have some money in the bank on deposit. Just through our gate receipts and the Football League money that we get through various sponsorships and TV money and Paul's money and various other things. Without the transfer dealings that we've had, that we've been very, very successful in the transfer market in selling our players over the last 3 or 4 years. I think we must have taken in, £1.5 million, which for a non-league club as we was then, is quite fantastic.
But despite the cash coming in, the chairman still says money's short. It's impossible to judge just how bad the situation is because the latest accounts are overdue. Fans are worried.
We don't know what's going on. People are shareholders. We haven't seen accounts for the last 15 months. Obviously that's not on. What is going on? You know, it's totally open to conjecture what is going on.
The last published accounts showed a healthy profit of £166,000. No one except the chairman seems to know what's happening to the money.
But we are in problems. The chairman tells me, or Helen tells me, who's the company secretary, that we owe the police quite a considerable amount of money. We owe the PAYE and national NI contributions a substantial amount of money.
To get money in, Barry has even been ordered by Stan to sell Gary Bull, Barnet's star striker. Luckily for Barnet, the deal fell through before the Cardiff game. Barnet end the game with a draw, but they come away from Wales with more than just a point.
Rick Wright, the financial controller of Cardiff and chairman, was very generous in his praise of us after the game in the dressing room. He said that, we were a credit to football, and if we won the league, we would go up as worthy champions. And he gave us £1,000 for the lads to have a beer and a meal on the way home, which was, in the circumstances, a fantastic gesture.
But back in Barnet after the weekend, it seems to be business as usual, Flashman style. Still no pay. Barry Fry joins the angry players at the chairman's house in Totteridge, North London.
I don't know what's happening. Ellen spoke to me this morning and says the lads ain't getting any money today. So I've just told them at training they come round here.
We're just so annoyed because we haven't got any money, have we?
You might come back out of the box.
What's going to happen if you don't get paid?
The windows are going through. No.
The Flashmans are now saying that the money can only be raised if the Football League releases the club from its so-called performance bond, a £150,000 deposit secured on the chairman's house and meant to ensure that the club meets its financial obligations. Eventually, Helen Flashman emerges.
We're waiting to get performance bond released. That's it. When it's released, then we'll have money to pay you.
When's that going to be released now?
Well, that's up to Brendan Batson. When he tells the league that you've all been paid up to the 30th of June 1992, then they'll release it.
What's the chances of that?
You'll get as good as mine. We've been trying for 6 months.
Only the players' representative, Brendan Batson of the Professional Footballers Association, the PFA, can give the league the signal to release the bonds.
Well, they're blaming you and the PFA.
For what?
We want our money.
Yeah.
For waiting to get paid our wages.
Well, that's exactly right, Dave. Exactly right.
It might be.
Back at the club, there are heated discussions and phone calls to the league. The players are suspicious that if money is released, they still won't get any of it.
Yeah, we've got to.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll ring the solicitor, Stanley Bellinaire, and I'll say my players are prepared to sign a statement and get it up to the Football League now to release that bond, providing he gives me a fax over that now that he will pay every player.
Yeah, brilliant.
So you won't give the players an undertaking that game? Well, can you just speak to one of the players, and Gary Phillips, and then, you know, he'll say what he's doing. All right.
Well, Stanley, how you doing? I understand that, but I mean, I can see their point of view and I can see everybody's point of view, but basically we're employed by Barnet and we're thinking to ourselves now, hold on, we've gone 2 weeks without money again. Now, if we release this bond, are we guaranteed our money? And we're getting no guarantee from anybody.
Shortly afterwards, Barry gets a startling message from the chairman, which he passes on to the players.
We're going to get right. Is it home? And every one of you is going to get and he's coming round to do it now.
Why didn't you open the door when we was there?
I said, do you really want me to tell him that, Stan? He says yes.
So he'll be here in a minute.
Then events take an even more bizarre turn in yet another call from the chairman.
Stan, are you sure? Stan, it's World War III now. All right, I'll pass the message on. All right, I'll get one of them. All right, get Duncan out. You're all fine 2 weeks' wages, so you're not...
Flashman has fined the players 2 weeks' wages, coincidentally the exact amount they're owed.
Be honest with you, Stan. Hang on. He says you've just told him that we ain't playing tomorrow. You what? No, nothing's been said, Stan. No, nothing's been said. As far as like, all the players are concerned, we're going to Scarborough tomorrow and playing the game. The fact that we ain't been paid for like 2 or 3 weeks has got nothing to do with it, has it?
It all ends with a promise of pay on Wednesday. But before payday, there's a small matter of football. An away game at Scarborough halfway down the league at this moment. Barnet come from behind to level at 2-2. It's a good result. But after travelling back from Scarborough through the night, the players learn later that same morning that they still won't get paid. And there's worse to come. The chairman sacks Barry for the 7th time, and 6 players. Then some good news comes in. The PFA, the Players' Union, has loaned the team their outstanding wages. But it's all too late for 2 key players, Gary Bull and Derek Payne.
Due to the lack of wages being paid in, I'm passing off a letter to the Football League and passing one to Stan and the chairman, demanding a free transfer at the end of the contract.
The players are contracted until the end of the season. If they do go, Barnet may lose more than £500,000. That's the value placed on Gary Bull alone. Then, out of the blue, the most startling news of all. Stan Flashman resigns because of ill health and says that he has sold the club. A new board is to take over. But has Stan really sold up, or is this just another manoeuvre?
I mean, if Stan Flashman has sold the club, which he's said on numerous occasions that he's sold, and basically, in my opinion, Stan Flashman is a liar, a cheat and a thief, so I don't believe a word he says. But if he has sold the club, then I think that could be the saviour of the club. If he hasn't sold the club, then I think sooner or later he will liquidate it. He will get wound up. He will get expelled from the Football League.
The new board says it wants to save the club. It reinstates Barry and the 6 players and calls a meeting for Thursday morning. Meanwhile, Barry gets another interesting message from the ever-colourful Stan.
On the Thursday morning, my son came round to tell me that he'd had a phone call last night for me, and he said, "Is there a message for me, Dad?" and you know, he was told that to inform his old man that he wouldn't have any legs much longer. Well, I've had these threats from the chairman before, to be fair, and I've took no notice of them. I mean, it's a very volatile relationship that we have. He shouts at me, I shout at him, but I didn't like the fact that he involved my family. I don't like that at all.
But on Thursday morning, things go from bad to worse for Barry Fry. He meets the new board. He leaves the meeting convinced that Stan Flashman is still pulling the strings. He resigns. It's a devastating blow to the club. For Barry himself, it's the end of a 14-year relationship with a club he loves.
Give it, and go!
Barry takes up a new job at Southend, struggling at the bottom of the First Division. Ironically, his new team, if relegated, may meet his old team next season.
Great run, Smithy, but you ain't scored!
Meanwhile, Barry's move looks like leaving a big hole at Barnet as the season reaches the last decisive matches.
Obviously, it's been very upsetting for the lads and that, but...
Death in the family, isn't it, mate?
It is, mate, yeah. I mean, he was like... I know it's going to sound a bit corny, but he was like a father to us, really. Like, he was always looked after us. And now we've just got to keep ourselves motivated, so... and just keep going, get on with the job, like, get promotion. If we can, win it, like. But it's been a nightmare, really.
Eddie Steen, Barry's assistant at Barnet, takes over as caretaker manager. He has to oversee the club's remaining 8 fixtures. Though still second in the league at this point, with a game in hand over leaders Cardiff, promotion is not yet assured. Barnet could still be overtaken by the clubs behind them.
But with the problems we had this year, you know, lads, you're fucking brilliant. And if, like I said to you, if we don't win another game or we don't get another point between now and the end of the season, you have done yourself fucking proud.
Despite Eddie's fighting talk, Barnet don't do well against Halifax, bottom of the league. At one point during the sterile 0-0 draw, the fans voiced their discontent with the new board. The new board have declined to talk to the London programme, so we can't report on their plans for Barnet or how they view the financial disarray. We can say that Stan Flashman's solicitor has confirmed that the chairman's shares have been sold. We understand that the shares have only been transferred to his wife, however. For many, the ex-chairman may still be too close for comfort. The London programme has also learned that Barry Fry is suing the club for £100,000 in unpaid fees. Barnet have won their last 3 games and have overhauled Cardiff to go 1 point clear at the top of the 3rd division. But what lies ahead for Barnet? Not all its players may be available to play next year. In fact, there may not even be a club at all. And above all, there's the money. Lots of it has come into the Underhill ground, but no one quite knows where it's all gone, except perhaps for one man who lives in this house behind me, former chairman Stan Flashman. For the past month, we've been trying to talk to him. He hasn't seemed keen at all to talk to us. We're going to make one last attempt to see if Mr. Flashman can explain what's been happening at Barnet. However, the reclusive ex-chairman remained as shy as ever, so no answers for those who wonder where Barnet's money has gone. Meanwhile, since the new board took over, the players and staff have at least been paid, though many are still owed considerable sums of money, and all are living from week to week.
We're all right, but some of the lads have got children and that, you know, and families. Sad, isn't it?
Eh?